What's going on, everyone? I appreciate y'all coming here and checking out this Elden Ring video. In this one, I'm going to be giving you guys 10 crucial tips that I wish I knew sooner. Hopefully some of these will be able to help you out in some kind of way. Let's go ahead and get into these. The first tip that I wanted to go over is defeating the tutorial boss in the very beginning. As you know, if you played this game, you are supposed to technically die at this part. However, it is possible to defeat the boss. The developers actually made it pretty rewarding for us to beat this boss, which makes sense because it is a challenge to beat this thing. We get 3,200 runes for defeating this guy. We also get a unique sword. It's actually called the Ornamental Straight Sword. As you can see, it's a pretty good sword. Also, we get a shield called the Golden Beast Crest Shield. And we unlock this path too that we can take after defeating the tutorial boss. However, like I mentioned before, we are supposed to die at this part, so when we do continue down this path, we end up falling to our death. But there is a exceedingly rare ingredient that we can pick up along the way of falling to our death right here next to this grave. As you can see, we can find a nascent butterfly too. So yeah, defeating this boss in the beginning is a great start to our adventure in Elden Ring's universe. It helps tremendously because we get to keep everything that we get after taking on that boss. I know typically we're supposed to lose our runes when we die. However, we don't at this part just because we're supposed to die for the story here. So yeah, we get to keep everything that we get. It's a very beneficial way to start the game. Anyways, next tip I wish I knew sooner would be not to keep trying to progress through the main story by taking on Margit. Instead of wasting time trying to beat Margit, I would start leveling up and working on my character by exploring other areas until I was ready, such as searching for dungeons and taking them on. Taking on dungeons and beating the mini-boss inside of them rewards us with plenty of great stuff, including lots of runes. One, for example, that I recommend checking out that you might have missed early in the game would be the Stormfoot Catacombs. As you can see, we get rewarded nicely for taking on this dungeon and this mini-boss inside of it. The third tip would be actually leveling up. I didn't know exactly how to level up in the beginning, but after a while, I did figure out that I needed to go to a grace site and have runes, which that leads me to my next tip, and that is to not hold on to too many runes at once, because there is a chance we can lose them from dying, and that can slow down our progress majorly, especially if we're just stocking up on them. I do recommend, especially in the beginning, because nothing isn't too expensive in the shops quite yet, to just focus mainly on leveling up to get your character ready to get through the main story. Anyways, the next tip that I wanted to throw in this video is how to unlock parts of our map. This really helps with finding dungeons and, just our way around Elden Ring's universe. All we have to do is travel into the unknown of the map, which are the clouded areas on it. Once we start to travel through those clouded areas, it'll start to reveal roads and whatnot on the map. We'll also be able to see these little monuments too if we did get close enough to one. As you can see here, for example, this is exactly what they look like. Yeah, if we travel to these monuments or whatever, we'll find pieces of maps that will reveal different areas. This is a very handy tip to know, especially if you're trying to find dungeons to go through to help level up your character and find unique gear and stuff. But yeah, the next tip I have for you is how to unlock crafting. And we can do this by just purchasing a crafting kit. And we can find a crafting kit pretty early by going to Church of Ela and buying it for 300 runes from this merchant. As you can see, the crafting kit states that it enables the practice of item crafting for its item effect, and that's exactly what it does. If we go to the menu now, you will notice that item crafting is now unlocked right below equipment. Before, it wasn't until we got our hands on this crafting kit. So yeah, that's pretty neat to know, which leads me to my next tip that I wanted to add in this video, and that is the Furl Calling Finger Remedy. This requires Erdleaf flowers to craft, which there's an abundance of these around the lands between. So you shouldn't have too hard of a time finding these. This is what they look like. But yeah, once we've gathered these, we can now craft a finger remedy, which this is used to find online matches. You simply use this around an area, typically a tough area, like before a boss fight or something, and you could find plenty of other online players trying to match up to take on whatever part you're on. I wish I knew more about this when I was first starting, so I could join other players. Yeah, because it can be beneficial to fight alongside others sometimes. Now keep in mind, however, if the stones are glowing red and not yellow, that means that person is wanting to PvP. So yeah, don't go into a red one by mistake thinking you're teaming up with them. That would suck. Hasn't happened to me, but I'm sure it's happened to someone out there. You never know. Anyways, next crucial tip that I wanted to go over in this video is how to team up with others. And how we can do that is by pulling up the menu, and from equipment here, go down to multiplayer. And once here, we'll find all of our multiplayer items that we can use. And one of them is the tarnished furled finger. This is what we got in the beginning of the game. And as you can see, here's what it states that it does. You can leave a gold summon sign to play cooperative multiplayer. This sign will appear in other players' worlds and allow them to summon you as a furled finger for cooperative multiplayer. So you'll be summoned into their world to help them out if you place this down on the ground. Vice versa. If you find these gold slabs on the ground, you can summon them into your world. And you will still get rewards even if you're in another player's world. So yeah, keep that in mind. But yeah, that's how this works. And the other one that we can use to team up with others is the small golden effigy here. This sends a cooperative summon sign to several nearby summoning pools. If you are summoned, you will be transported to that summoning pool's location in the host player's world, and multiplayer will begin. So yeah, overall, pretty neat. Anyways, the last and final tip that I wanted to give in this video is how to summon spirits in Elden Ring. I was absolutely confused on how to summon them. I just didn't know what to do or where to go. And it turns out we just had to return to Church of Ela after we have spoken to Melina and gotten our spectral steed to ride. As you can see here, if we return back to Church of Ela around nighttime, at least that's what time it was for me, this witch will appear. And here's what she'll say.
A pleasure to meet thee, Tarnished. I am the witch Renna. I'd heard tell of a Tarnished hurtling about atop a spectral steed, and upon looking into the matter, the talk I surmise is of thee. Thou art possessed of the power, no? To call forth a spectral steed named Torrent.
So yeah, we'll get the choice to tell her I can call the spectral steed, or we can lie to her and say, I can't call the spectral steed. So let's go ahead and just tell her the truth and let her know that we can.
Ah, as I had hoped, I was entrusted this for thee, by Torrent's former master.
So yeah, as you can see, we got Lone Wolf Ashes, which is an awesome summon to use. It summons a group of wolves to fight with you. And most importantly, we get the Spirit Calling Bell, which this is what we need to be able to summon spirits. Check this out. Yeah, and there's all kinds of different spirits around the game that we can collect and utilize to help us. They make for great distractions against enemies, and they deal out quite a bit too, depending on what summon you're using. And you are able to make them stronger over time as well. And keep in mind though, how you use your summons after you do get the bell. You just have to simply go to your inventory and then go over to your ashes. And then once you're over here, you just have to equip the ones that you want to use. And once you got them equipped, they'll be at the bottom where your flask is at, as you can see. But yeah, I guess that's wrapping up this Elden Ring video. Hopefully something in here was new to you and was able to help you out in some kind of way. But yeah, I'm out of here though. As always, thanks for taking the time, watching and listening. Until next time, peace.